Assalamualaikum everyone. Welcome once again to biology online class. This is Salmakta Sweetie. This time I am going to introduce you heart anatomy or the structure of heart. Heart is a vital organ, that is a very important organ. Heart is a hollow muscular organ, pyramidal or triangular in shape. Our heart pumps 2000 gallons of blood each day, and our heart beats between 60 to 100 times per minute, approximately 1 lakh times per day. And the approximate size of heart is the same is about the size of your fist, and the net weight can be 250 to 300 grams. Heart is located in the middle portion, that is called the mediastinum. This part between the lungs, and 2/3 of the heart lies to the left side. That's why we always say heart is at the left side of our chest. Let's know the human heart structure. The overall structure of the human heart composed of 4 chambers. Chambers are like rooms. There is 4 space, hollow space, and they are called 4 chambers. 4 valves. Valves are like doors, and 5 major blood vessels. That is, here in this figure you can see this 4 part is 4 chambers, and between the chambers there is door, and these are valves, and the entry and exit pathways, these are blood vessels, including some artery and some veins. The main blood vessels include superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, aorta, these are aorta, and these are pulmonary veins. This is pulmonary artery. These 3 are aorta, and this is inferior vena cava, superior vena cava here. Okay, these are main blood vessels in the heart. And chambers, valves, and vessels functions as 2 separate pumps. Heart pumps the blood. throughout our body, and there is two separate pumps. The right side is this part, receives blood from the body and sends it to the pulmonary artery. And the left side receives blood from the lungs and sends it to the whole body. The heart is covered by a membrane that is called pericardium. The pericardium is a fibroserous sac that encloses the heart and the root of the great vessels, and its function is to restrict excessive movement of the heart as a whole and to serve as a lubricated, that is a slippery container in which the different parts of the heart can contract. So it protects the heart from various damages. And the heart wall have three layers of tissues. First one is epicardium. Epicardium is the most outer part, that is also a part of the pericardium. Then in the middle there is myocardium, and in the myocardium there are muscle fibers that are responsible for pumping. And the innermost layer or deepest layer of the heart wall is endocardium, and there is smooth lining, and it reduces friction to blood flow. Here in this figure you are seeing a cross section of some part of a heart, and this layer outside the heart is pericardium. And pericardium, then this part, the heart wall. If you zoom in a part of this part, then you will see here the outermost, it is pericardium, and there is some space here. This is pericardial cavity. So this part is pericardium, where at the outside two layer, fibrous layer, serous layer, then there is a space, and this is pericardial cavity. And then the heart wall, two layers. This part is myocardium, and the innermost part is the endocardium. Let's know about the heart chambers. Heart chambers are of two types. One is atrium, or you can say atria in plural, and another is ventricles. So at first we will know about atrium. Atriums are smaller than the ventricles and they are thin walled chambers. Their functions is to receive blood and push the blood into the adjacent ventricles. The right atrium receives deoxygenated blood from the inferior vena cava below and from the superior vena cava above. And then the left atrium receives oxygenated blood from 4 pulmonary veins which drains posteriorly. Then ventricles are the discharging chambers of the heart, make up most of the mass of the heart. They are larger, quite larger than the atriums. Here you are seeing the upper chambers are the atriums and the lower chambers are the ventricles, and you are seeing most of the part of the heart occupies the ventricles. Right ventricle receives blood from the right atrium through the tricuspid valve and pumps blood into the pulmonary trunk. That is, this right ventricle receives blood from right atrium and pumps it to this pathway. The left ventricle pumps blood into the aorta, and left ventricle is quite larger than the right ventricle. Its wall is 3 times thicker than that of the right ventricle. Because it is necessary, the thick wall is very important, because left ventricle pumps oxygenated blood, and oxygenated blood flows at high pressure through the systemic circulation. Then let's know about heart valves. Valves are like doors. There are 4 valves in the heart, and heart valves ensure unidirectional blood flow through the heart. They are composed of an endocardium with a connective tissue core. That is, inside the endocardium layer there is some connective tissue, and there are 2 types of heart valves: atrioventricular valves and semi-lunar valves. Atrioventricular valves lie between the atrium and the ventricles. There are 2 atrioventricular valves known as right atrioventricular valve or tricuspid valve. These atrioventricular valves lies, this is atrium, this is ventricle, and between them there is a atrioventricular valve. This is a atrium and this is a ventricle. Between them there is another atrioventricular valve, and this in the right part there is tricuspid valve. There is there is 3 doors. In the door there is 3 parts, that's why it is called tricuspid valve. And at the left side there is 2 parts, that's why it will be called bicuspid valve, and another name is mitral valve. And these atrioventricular valves prevent backflow of the blood into the atrium when ventricles contract. The next type is semilunar heart valves. Semilunar means semi means half and lunar means like moon. So semilunar means half moon like. They are seen like half moon, that's why the name is. Semilunar valves prevent backflow of blood into the ventricles. 2 types of semilunar valves is aortic semilunar valve and pulmonary semilunar valve. The aortic semilunar valve is here, and it is located between the left atrium and the aorta. The pulmonary semilunar valve here located between the right ventricle and the pulmonary artery. And when blood enters into the pulmonary artery, it can back to this part for gravity. But if the door is closed, then it cannot return to the ventricle. And all of the valve works so that blood flow only one directional, and they cannot return to their previous location again. Heart sounds are called lub dub due to the closing of the valves. Lub, closing of the atrioventricular valves, and dub, closing of the semilunar valves. So this is a brief of the heart structure. Thank you all. Allah Hafiz.